Urinary tract infections are extremely common. Around 1 in 2 women and 1 in 20 men will get a UTI in their lifetime. Plus, once you've had one UT challenge, you're way more susceptible to another in the future. That's why you just need Just Thrive's UT123. This product can actually prevent UTIs while maintaining your urinary tract health. UT123 targets both immediate and long-term relief. We've all heard to drink cranberry juice for your urinary tract, but did you know that for the full effects, you need the whole cranberry? Not just juice, but the skin, flesh, and even the seeds. Well, UT123 uses superior ingredients that utilizes the whole fruit. This supplement truly is the full package. So if you're someone who struggles with the constant urge to urinate, a burning feeling when you pee, pelvic pain, or just want to be proactive in your urinary health, Just Thrive is for you. Just Thrive is so confident you'll love their product that there is a 100% money-back guarantee on every purchase made through justthrivehealth.com. And for a limited time, you can save 20% off site-wide at justthrivehealth.com with promo code SEXWithEmily. That's justthrivehealth.com and use code SEXWithEmily for 20% off your order. You're going to love it. Listen, alcohol is just out in 2024. There is a rising trend of going alcohol-free or being sober curious, and alcohol, the truth is, it's just bad for you and can famously impair your sex life. So if you're looking for another way to unwind, relax, or just have fun, I cannot recommend Via's THC gummies enough. Via has gummies for every occasion. Whether it's to improve your sleep, I love their sleep gummies. I take them everywhere. Your mood or your focus. They even have an aphrodisiac gummy called High Love to boost my arousal levels. High Love has a unique blend of cannabinoids and aphrodisiac exotic herbs that are known for their libido enhancing effects. So I've been using Via for a while now, and I absolutely love them. They're a super trusted company. They use premium hemp, natural ingredients, and they're known for their premium indoor THCA flower. All their products are made here in the US. They got quick and discreet shipping to all 50 states, so you can all enjoy them, not to worry. And also super affordable. So head over to viahemp.com and use code Emily at checkout to save 15% off your order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Use code Emily at checkout for 15% off your order and let me know what you think. Hey everyone, how you doing? Thanks so much for listening to the Sex with Emily show. You know, I love being able to help you have the sex life and relationships that you deserve and that you want. And I want to give you the best show possible, so I appreciate you supporting our sponsors who help keep this show free. So I have to tell you about my No Pro. I have spent so much time and money on razors and waxing and tweezing and all that stuff that is annoying and expensive and takes a lot of time, and I still have hair. But the No Pro is the best way to remove unwanted hair, and there's zero pain. You can do it at home when you're watching TV, whatever. It's so easy to use, and it's for men too. Whether it's your legs or your arms or your back, a lot of guys are like, what do I do with this back hair? What do I do with the neck hair if they don't want it? You know, the No Pro, you do it at home. It comes with a 100% 60-day money-back guarantee, and when you purchase it, you get a $50 gift card to an award-winning skincare line. And I'm obsessed with it. It's funny because we joke in my office. I am using it all the time. I love it. Go to nonoemily.com. That's nonoemily.com.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily. You got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's got to have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, I feel so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, go to sexwithemily.com where you can hear the podcast. It's really easy just to actually go to iTunes, subscribe. We have 2 podcasts a week, and you'll never have to miss another one again. But our website, we update every day, several times with articles, information, interesting blogs, things like that. That will help you have better sex, which is what I'm all about. So I appreciate everyone being here, and I'm here with Anderson this evening. And we're gonna get into Anderson. But first, let me tell you what the show's about. Daniel Stern, he is the author of Swingland. Between the sheets of the secretive, sometimes messy, but always adventurous swinging lifestyle. And this guy wrote this book. It's amazing. If you've ever been curious, and I know a lot of you are, about swinging, we're going to get in some details, but also some tips about sex and all that stuff, but how he's navigated this world actually as a single man, which is very rare in the swinging world. Usually it's couples and single women. And this book is just chock full of information and advice, and we're going to get into it, and I know you are going to love this show. But first, I need to talk to Anderson.
Hi, kid.
Anderson had a very big weekend, and I was so proud of you.
I was so happy that you showed up. That was very sweet.
I know, you're like, Emily's not here. So Anderson has a podcast.
Because I didn't come to your blowjob thing.
Oh, I don't care. That was last night.
I
didn't
wanted to
expect
go.
you to come.
I had to be hanging out with Drew, which is the last thing I wanted
Where?
to do.
Oh, here.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Drew instead of hanging out with you, hearing about blowjobs.
I know. Well, you hear me talk about blowjobs enough, I'm sure.
Sure.
But Anderson has a really successful podcast, great podcast called After Disaster.
It's called The Film Vault, but that wasn't the one you saw.
But here's so funny is that we always talk about the film vault, but you never want me to talk about After Disaster.
Well, no, it's just that the After Disaster is not a real podcast, even though we kind of proved that wrong with selling out the improv.
I friggin' laughed. So After Disaster, and he was sold out the improv. It was Saturday night, and all of us from Loveline went, and Drew was there with his wife, Dr. Drew. And I came in, like, I was late, but it hadn't started yet, thank God. And I laughed my ass off. I thought you guys were so entertaining, and I was just really happy for you because there were so many people like lined up buying T-shirts. They were huge fans, and it was just.
I shook a lot of hands on. I felt like a politician.
I know, but
I felt like a cussing politician.
You were
like, hey man,
you
how
were
the fuck
celeb,
are you?
and I was laughing my ass off. It was so funny because at one point during the show, you didn't know I was there, and then you're like, "Who's here? Is Emily Sex with Emily here?" And then you're like, "No, she would never be here. She didn't come." And I'm like, "I'm here." And then Mike Carano goes, "Oh no, now Emily's here. I'm worried. She thought we had a good show, and now she thinks we have a bad show." I'm like,
That's
laughing my ass off. Oh, that's your shtick?
Yeah, well, we're always making fun of our own show. The After Disaster is just like me with two guys that I consider friends that I love hanging out talking about God knows what. So we're like just three chocolates.
But you guys are great. You have great
I pushed
energy.
the Film Vault because that's a real show. I actually have sponsorship and whatnot. And we have like quadruple the listenership of the After Disaster. And it's also a service where I talk about movies and I give people heads up on good movies.
So listen to both of his podcasts. And you were awesome. I was just so proud of you. And get to meet your wife, who was lovely, and the whole thing. Yes. So I did last night. I also had a big night, and it's okay that you weren't there.
You sold out too.
I sold out. I'm telling you, it was at the Hustler Hollywood store, which is on Sunset Boulevard in LA.
Sellouts.
What? I'm a
Both
sellout.
such sellouts.
Sex sells. And it was really exciting because they don't do a lot of workshops there. And the store is like, if you've never been to this store, and I've been to a lot of sex toy stores, it's amazing. First of all, they have parking, 3 levels of parking. I'm going to start there. But they're open till 2 a.m. and they have every single like sex toy, sex product, sex thing that you've ever imagined in your life, fantasy. They have a cafe, whole thing of lingerie, shoes, toys, and it's amazing. So I gave a workshop called How to Blow His Mind. But a lot of men and women showed up, which was great because I can blow her mind too. I could talk about either of that. And it was so, I get nervous. So, okay, I'm talking to, hi, Daniel. Because Anna's, anyway. So we're going to get down in a minute. But I get nervous sometimes. I'm like, don't you do book signings? I'm like, what if no one shows up? I don't know. And we had like a bunch of RSVPs, but you just don't know.
Well, you should be nervous for other reasons too, because at my little show, I wasn't worried about someone showing up and trying to rape me in the parking lot.
What do you mean? I'd be nervous about that?
Yeah, you got a lot of guys that really want you.
I know, but it wasn't creepy. And, but not even they weren't going to show up. But also, I have to tell you, it was in the 8 years I've been doing this show, 2,000 podcasts. I feel like I teach a workshop every night because I'm like giving advice. But I've never done like a live workshop in front of people. And there was like 70 people there. And I was kind of nervous. I was like prepping for it and stuff, but it went really well. And it was so heartwarming because there were a lot of my fans there that I never get to meet because I do a podcast and I'd never done a public, maybe in San Francisco a few years ago. I used to live there and I did a few events. But I had fans driving like 3-4 hours to see me, like just to come, and they drove in to San Diego.
Did you record it at all or make a video of it?
I don't think we videoed it. I know. That was a mistake, probably. Did
you use carrots?
No. Okay, so I had to teach. That was my scariest part. It wasn't all about blowjobs. We called it that, but that was just part of it. It was blowjobs, oral sex, masturbation, how to improve your sex life, get kinky, spice it up. I kind of covered a lot, but when it came to the blowjob part, I was like, I don't want to stick this dildo in my mouth. I don't want to stick a carrot in my mouth. That's not me. So I'm like, how am I going to teach the blowjob thing? And like all day long, I'm like, I can't do it. So finally, I'm teaching it. I had Lauren come up and hold the the dildo, and I was like, "This is the frenulum," and I think I pulled it off. I think I did, but I didn't. But I was doing hand stuff because you can't because I'm like, you got to use your hands for pressure. And,
Did you get laughs, or were people taking
oh my God,
notes?
I got
Did you
so
hear the
many
scribbling
laughs.
get louder?
No one left. People stayed. Like, not one person walked out.
No
People were
laughs.
laughing. Lots of laughs. Lots of questions. People were really open. And so I think I'm going to do it like every other month. And for all my listeners, if you live elsewhere and you want me to come speak, I think this could be my thing. And I will come speak where you live, wherever you live.
You should have
Arrange
done.
people. What?
Because you were so worried about putting that dildo in your mouth, and it sounds like you ended up doing it.
I didn't put the dildo in my mouth. I in my hand.
You should have had a listener come up, a male listener, come
Uh-huh.
up and do it for you. And
What do
he
you
could
mean?
probably give you tips, too, because he's going to know his dick.
I know.
better than you.
Everyone says a guy, what are women teaching about blowjobs? But we know. We know our way
You guys
around a
know.
blowjob.
Yeah.
So it was exciting. And I just want to thank everyone who's listening if you came, because it meant so much to me, and my heart has just been warmed all day. And
Did you have any gay
last night.
listeners there?
I did.
They would have been the ones
What, the ones who what?
to talk about the BJs.
I know. Well, I asked, and I did a lot of our audience participation. And the amazing thing was we gave people's cards at the beginning of the night, like, what's your one question that you have about sex? What's the, we just had a few really funny, I can't remember what they were. What's your, so whatever.
I really want to go to the next one. For
People
sure.
filled it all out. It was great. It was fun. So thank you, everyone, for coming to House for Hollywood. I appreciate it. And it was a fun night. So, Daniel, what
Emily.
up? How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
It's so nice to meet you. So we were first introduced through Holly and Mike, who've been on the show. And
Yes.
they have a show called Swing. And it's on Playboy.
Playboy
Right?
Radio.
Playboy Radio, and I love them. I adore them. And they're like, you got to interview this guy. Daniel just wrote this book, Swingland, about swinging. It's amazing about the lifestyle, because I find that everyone, if they're, in a monogamous relationship, single, they're always fascinated by swingers.
Yes.
Like, they don't get it. They don't understand how could it work, all this stuff. And you answer a lot of these questions, from your own perspective. It's like, your narrative, but then also you give tips and you explain the whole thing and how you got into it. And I think it's a great book. So I think
thank
you
you.
answer a lot of the questions, and I've got a lot of questions for you too. So you can check it out at theotherdanielstern.com, or follow him on Twitter at otherdanielstern, and Facebook.com, The Other Daniel Stern.
Actually, Twitter's Other Dan Stern.
Oh, Dan Stern. Sorry.
They didn't give me enough characters.
I hate that.
Yeah, I
okay,
know.
Other Dan Stern. Okay, so this book is like, I just wanted to read one thing about it here that I highlighted. Like, an estimated 15 million strong worldwide, swingers are everywhere. They're near neighbors, probably. A huge community hiding in plain sight, whose erotic pastime remains a complete mystery to the rest of us, which it kind of really does. And so what's interesting is that it says here, Daniel Stern outs himself and the secretive community he loves, recounting his 10-year transformation from a lonely guy who couldn't get a date into a veteran sexual adventurer. So
That makes me sound really cool, doesn't it?
It does. Well, the fact that you were a lonely guy, single, and then now you're in this world having threesomes, orgies, craziness as a single guy, because the rule typically is couples and single women.
Yes.
So I don't know
that is
how
correct.
you got your way in there. So you got to tell us, how did you get... Well, first, let's go back to Daniel Stern 10 years ago.
Okay.
Let's do that. Tell me about that, Daniel.
I wasn't, I did have girlfriends. All the sex I had always had was in relationships. I'd never had casual sex. And it wasn't that I didn't want to have it. I kind of have this theory that, like, there are some people that can close the deal and some people can't.
Yeah.
And it might be like genetically.
Right.
And so I'm usually one of those people that can't close the
Okay,
deal.
not a closer.
And so I was in this relationship with, she was a great woman, but we just did not really mesh, which we discovered. And I should have ended the relationship
Sexually
a lot
or
earlier.
just other
Sexually, mostly belief-wise. Like, she
Okay.
was, I'm on my best day, I'm agnostic.
Okay.
She turned out born-again Christian.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that really
that's-
doesn't mesh.
No.
So when I got out of that, I had always been curious about, certain scenarios like threesomes or group sex and stuff. And
Right,
I'm
you're
a
a dude.
boring, I'm a boring straight male. That's what we think about. And so I thought, you know what? I'm not getting any younger. This is perfect time. Let me go ahead and try it. So I didn't know there was such a thing as a lifestyle. I was just looking to have casual sex.
Right.
And because of the internet, that's a
Right.
place where I could kind of, it sort of equaled the playing field in a sense, because
Okay.
when I warm up to somebody personality wise, like, I can start to, I open up. But if it's on the internet, I've got a little bit more control over it. So it was easier for me.
Right.
And so I started casual sex.
What do you mean on the internet? So you started using
like
Craigslist or dating sites?
It was
10 years ago, I would think. What was it?
It was Craigslist, and then there was Adult Friend Finder.
Right.
Which didn't really click with me. But after a couple of those, somebody mentioned this thing called the lifestyle. And I went,
Right.
oh, what's that? And they described it. I said, oh, I want to go there. And then so I Googled it and just found a website, created a profile, and then just started emailing like the Tasmanian Devil.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just started emailing who? Like.
Well, if you go on the website,
Right.
go to the
Oh,
profiles.
yeah, you would pick profiles.
Yeah.
And you're like, if they were looking for a man,
Exactly.
you're like, I'm totally down. I'll try this.
Yes.
So your first time was it was with a couple,
Yes.
obviously. So
Yes.
okay, but let's just first of all just to define swinger is because there's like swinger, there's non-monogamous, there's polyamory.
Right.
So swingers are typically couples who swing with another couple, or they bring another person in.
Yeah. I mean,
Full swapping with.
soft swap, full swap. There's all different permutations of it. But like you said earlier, I mean, the bedrock of the whole community are couples. Without couples, you don't have the
Right,
lifestyle.
swing, right.
Because I mean, it's sexual relationships outside of a committed relationship.
Right.
And so there's that. But everybody in the lifestyle is looking primarily for a single woman. I mean,
Right.
because and this is my theory. Just women are the prettier gender. I
Right.
mean, much more appealing.
Right.
I think Anderson can
Yeah.
back me up on
You're
that.
pretty hot though too, man.
Okay. Well,
Looking at you and Emily in there, it's hard to tell.
well, I could sense a little connection, but and so those are the primary people in the lifestyle ecosystem, and then all these guys are trying to get in, and
Right.
so while the single guys have the numbers, they don't have the opportunities.
Right.
I didn't know that going in.
Right.
I just
You're
thought,
just like, I think this could be fun.
yeah, exactly.
Now, what part of swinging seemed interesting? Why not just hook up with a different chick every night and have casual sex?
Well, like I said, I mean, there were different scenarios that I was kind of interested in. A threesome.
Okay, got it.
Orgy or, any combination like
Right.
that. And it was in a perfect situation because I was single.
Right.
I was not wanting to get into any relationship, and I just had that motivation to do it. And there's this theory that, you don't choose the lifestyle chooses you.
Right.
And so I kind of feel that there was some other forces at play that helped me get into it all.
Okay, got it. So it's been for 10 years, so you haven't been in a committed relationship in 10 years?
No, I mean, I've dated, but it hasn't been.
And they know, and you tell them, like, this is my lifestyle?
No.
Okay.
It's never advanced to that point where I've had to. In fact, the dating, it's been very infrequent. It's interesting now that the book is out. Now there's this whole question of people ask me, well, how do you tell a woman that you're dating?
Right.
And I mean, the truth is, it hasn't gotten to that point yet.
Until now, until you have a book.
Yeah,
Like Gulio.
exactly.
Right.
But now it's nice, if I start to be interested in a woman, I can go, oh, by the way, you might want to read this.
Right. And then does it scare? Well, so what's been your experience with that?
Well, there was one right when the book came out. There was one woman who's, I mean, just gorgeous. I mean, looks like Faye Dunaway
Right.
back in like Bonnie and Clyde time and all
Right.
that. And it was amazing. I was just stunned that she was wanting to go out and all this stuff. And then it turns out, crazy ain't pretty. So she was just really out there.
Crazy and pretty. They say that happens. That
Yeah.
goes together. Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, what do you suggest? Like, when is the right time to tell somebody, oh, by the way, this is my sexual past? I mean, it's not like I'm, have done porn. I'm not doing
Right.
it for money or anything like
Exactly.
that. But when is the time to do that?
I think it's probably before you have sex with someone. You should, if you know that your relationship is getting to the point of having sex, I think you should tell them, like, I'm not into being monogamous right now. I see other people.
Yeah.
And let's bang.
As a guy, I would say the exact opposite.
Wait till after. Don't ever tell her.
Because then if she's not into it, at least you got to have sex with her.
Well, okay. Morally, I think the right thing to do, because a lot of women, and this is a stereotype, but they do get attached to the sex. They're dating you. They're thinking he wants to be with me. It's going to be a thing. So even if you don't have the swinging talk, you should have the talk about, I'm not interested in this going further, because women typically have a harder time separating sex, and they get very attached to it, and they expect, well, this means something. He slept with me. Not every woman on the planet, but
Right.
So I just think it helps to have these conversations. But I'm not saying everyone does, and whatever. I think that's what the right thing to. That would be respectful.
Yeah.
But if it's a casual thing and you both know it, then I don't think they need to know everything.
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of think it's also a case-by-case situation.
That's true, too. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the person. If you
Right.
could tell exactly, if this woman is falling for you and she's into you and it's like the night's going to happen and you know she's developing feelings and going to want more, she said things like, well, I want you to know my family or I want to do it, then you'll know that that's time. But if someone's just like, hey, whatever, I guess. So, what have you, so you've kind of probably done a little both.
Yeah,
but now you can't because you wrote a book.
No, I mean, I'm not. I think that from my youth, like I was sort of soured on the whole marriage thing. Just my parents. I say that my parents are still going through a divorce 30 years later.
Right.
But so relationship. I've never felt like okay, I need to be married. I need to have this. In fact, I like a lot of my alone time. I think that I'm sort of creeping toward that space where it's like, okay, I do want to have a serious relationship.
Okay, you think you do?
Yeah. Because the book, it actually only takes a slice of that time. I mean, where it peaks, where I had like a 9-day, playtime after playtime after playtime, that was probably like 3 or 4 years ago when that hit.
Okay.
And it's really petered off. Like I mean, maybe I've played in the past like 6 months like 3 times.
Okay. And then so when you mean play, you mean swing, everything. Like
yeah, exactly.
Because here's the thing, like I know that there's like play parties.
Yes.
I moved here from San Francisco like a year and a half ago. So I feel like I knew more about the scene there than I do here. But so that's not necessarily swingers. So I'm curious, like why you could just go to a play party that's just singles, right? I mean, doesn't that exist too?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, I can't say that there is anything that doesn't exist.
Right.
I mean, the longer I've been in it, the longer the more I realize, okay, there is something for everybody here. House parties tend to be organized by couples.
Right.
If it's a single who's organizing it, you have couples that are a little wary of that because why is it a single person inviting us?
Exactly.
But if it's a couple and then you're inviting more people, and these are house parties, not clubs. Clubs is a whole different.
Right, that's true.
Right. So when you have the couple that's starting, they're inviting other couples, and they usually bring some singles in, sort of like sprinkle in throughout, depending on what they want for the party. Like sometimes they're having all these couples are coming together because they want to, in a sense, sort of honor the women.
Right.
So they'll bring in extra guys, and sometimes it'll just be couples. Sometimes there'll be, some single women as well. So a lot of them, they know in advance what the ratio they want to get is.
Okay. So it's calculated beforehand.
Yes, exactly.
So did it come to a point where you knew? So then you got into it after this, like they were accepting you into parties all over. But did you have your clique that you kept seeing over and over again in these 10 years, or would it kind of change and veer? Or?
No, I mean, there's in fact, before I showed up tonight, I was texting with a couple. I was actually their first experience. They're now married, and they were going to call in, but they're in a childbirth class tonight.
Oh, okay,
she's
that's
due.
important.
And I thought, I don't know if we're still friends, but no,
right, but yeah, that's okay.
So yeah, there is that core group that you kind of stay with.
Okay,
or at least I do, and then you'll meet new people through that. When I started, it was just balls to the wall. It was just, who can I meet? Whether we play or not, I just want to meet people and we'll see what happens. So it was like very regimented, every day email. And, you were
into it. You were like, did you ever like go to a party and you like saw someone you knew from work or from life?
No, thank goodness.
Right.
I mean, because I sort of had this rule where I was only going to play off my turf.
Okay.
So I didn't want that to happen because
you didn't do it in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
You went like 10 miles out, which in LA is like another country.
Exactly.
Right, I get it.
A lot of times, I live, in LA. I'd go to the Valley to meet people, but because these profiles will tell you how far away these people live from you. So if I see like 2 miles away, I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to run into it at Whole Foods. We don't want that.
Exactly.
Right. So you got into this lifestyle and you loved it right away. You felt like it found you. You found it like this was your calling.
Yes.
What did you love about it?
For me, like when I go on a date, I feel like it's this whole social dance where you're trying to figure out how to reveal yourself or mix. But it's a foregone conclusion when you're meeting somebody in a lifestyle that sex is already a possibility.
Right. It's already on the table.
Whereas
that's the only thing on the menu. Right?
Yeah. I mean, from a guy, if you're going on a date with a girl, a lot of it is, okay, would I sleep with her and all that stuff. You don't have to think about that. So everybody is open and honest from the get-go. And I just love that, especially in LA, where a lot of times I'll go on dates, you feel like you're on a job interview.
Yeah. Do they? What are the women like? They grill you?
Yeah, it's what do you do? Who do you know? And
Yeah.
You kind of feel like they're asking if you can help them in a way.
Right. What's your sperm count? Right. No, I get that. That's what I've heard. I think that's women everywhere.
Yeah,
Not me.
yeah.
I'm like, let's not even talk about anything serious right now on this first date.
But I mean, do you think that like the women in San Francisco are different than the women here? Or about
I do. I do. I think that dating is definitely different. I feel like in San Francisco, no one really. Guys don't ask you out. They don't approach you in San Francisco at all. I always say, like, guys must, like, check their balls at the Golden Gate or something when they get there because there's just, like, you never get – everyone's like, oh, let's hang. You're in groups. And no one approaches you. But here I think people are much more into dating and even marriage. Like, none of my friends in San Francisco are even married. Everyone here is, like, are married and settled down. As far as the women being different, I do. I mean, I don't – I just want – you know, I'm still new-ish here. And I don't know. I guess it's just a little – it's more – people are just more chill. It doesn't matter if your car's dirty or how you look or like what you're wearing. I mean, for sure, for some people it does, but it's just not as focused on that. People are like following their dreams and their passions, and everyone works and has real jobs. And I mean, I don't know. It's just a little more serious, a little more cultured, and people are just a little more down to earth. Me, but not everyone. There's good people wherever you go.
You say LA is more cultured than San Francisco?
No, San Francisco is. People are just more.
I think San Francisco, too, has more natives of San Francisco probably living there. And L.A. is just filled with people not from here.
No, but see, people say that about San Francisco, too, that it's transient. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just like I was there for so long that I just had my core groups. I wasn't always like meeting a bunch of new people, but I was there for 20 years. But I also think that, I don't know. I think that they're just, women here are hotter, everyone says, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't compare. I mean, I'm definitely not complaining.
Right. Everyone says like 7s think they're 10s in San Francisco. My guy friend said that. But I felt like a 10. It was good. And here I feel like a 4.
You're an 11,
I'm like
Emily.
a 4 here.
You're an 11.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So what do you, so the women in LA, so your swinger parties are probably hot. Women, attractive women, men, couples. Not always, because that was my next question.
Yeah, I mean, there's that stereotype that they're all, sweaty, overweight.
Ponytails.
Exactly.
Menace, who's my co-host in the show, sometimes he's like, every swinger has a ponytail. I got to take a picture of you. He's like, he's convinced.
And enough back hair to use the product.
Back hair. Oh my God, the no-no. Yeah,
no-no.
why do they have so much back hair?
I don't know. I mean,
you talk about that.
There's two things that I do better than anybody else in the world, and that's grow hair and sweat. I take care of myself.
Good. How do you take care of it?
Well, I'd look really stupid if I start shaving it all the way down.
Yeah.
So I trim and make sure it's at a length that will not be disturbing to somebody, to a woman. I mean, other guys, whatever. So yeah, it's just when I need to trim, I will trim. I won't wax. I mean, that's got to hurt. And have you waxed before?
Yeah, I did.
Has it
I
hurt?
waxed my chest a long time ago.
How was that?
I was really high when I did it, so I don't know.
You guys got to use the no-no. I'm telling you, I'm using
exist.
it everywhere on my body, like that. I never have to shave anymore.
Sounds like Daniel could use some Down Under too.
Oh, I have Down Under Comfort. I have a product line called Emily and Tony. I actually brought you one, but it's a cream to a powder formula that you use anywhere you sweat. So between your legs, lower back,
gives you confidence.
Breast, it gives you confidence when you're in these swinging parties or whatever that you know that you are always fresh and dry, even if you sweat. Like men use talcum powder, carcinogenic. This stuff. It just like it smells amazing. It's fresh and dry. It's not messy, and all day long you will smell amazing.
Ingestible?
Yeah, ingestible. Okay. It's vegan.
What?
Oh.
You don't want to drink it though. There's no
you
need for
can
that.
eat it. No, you can eat it. No, it's vegan. You're gonna love it. I brought you a little gift.
Daniel,
thank you.
So
I got a quick question.
Go.
Have you ever had to bang like a lady you didn't want to?
That was my next question about the women.
At that.
Yeah.
No. I mean, there's that.
How does it work if like someone's all over you? You're at a party. There's only maybe 30. How do you be like, no, I'm not into you?
I mean, there's ways to say it. Something like, I don't really feel the chemistry, or
right.
You can also say, I've just played. I need to rest a little bit, and then you kind of go away.
Refractory.
But nobody takes it personally. I mean, it's not it. Yeah, I mean, if there's this really gorgeous woman and she's not feeling it with me, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But you move on.
Yeah, you're like, because there's 15 other women here.
Exactly. But with the women, I mean, I think that they have to deal with it a lot more, especially if you're at a club, because a club, they'll let in tons of single guys because they pay a high admission fee. So, I mean, if the house party is a nonprofit, a club is a for-profit business.
Right.
And the guys, they just get gouged because, like, single women go free everywhere.
Right.
Couples, they'll pay like, $40. Guys, they'll pay like $80, $100, $120.
Right. Do you go to these clubs too? Or
I've been to I've been to a club twice because there was a single woman that wanted me to go, but
Okay.
I don't go to those because they just smack of meat market. And
Right,
that's-
it's a free for all because
Yeah.
these host and I've been to them. The parties they're just more like you have to follow the rules. It's curated.
She screwed you, Daniel. Because she got to show up and she went in for free. You had to pay the single guy. You guys should have gone in as a couple.
But what
Well,
happened?
well,
what
that's
were you
what we
going to
did.
say? Oh,
We
you were
did
in as a
go.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened? You got there and you didn't want to be with her. She didn't want to be with you. What'd you say? You got.
Oh no, he just. I just mentioned.
Oh, I thought
you
were
asked
you saying
about
something about a.
Oh, if a woman, yeah, no, I'll just say like, oh, I'm not really feeling
Right.
the chemistry, or I said I was going to hook up with this
I was
other
going
one.
to go down on this chick in a
Exactly.
minute. So what about women? So, but then you could probably get rejected too.
Oh yeah,
And that's
Absolutely.
fine because you just move on to the next. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great practice. So I'm wondering, like, what would you say, if any, are traits of typical swingers, if there are any? Do you think there's certain characteristics, beliefs?
I think that there's an openness, and the way that I see it, there's an openness. I hate this word, but there's a realness to them. They're more easygoing. It's really sort of an organic feeling
Right.
to it. It's not like, if you want to be a swinger, you have to have X, Y, and Z. There's something about it. And I will say, I think that I got very lucky with the people there. I've only had a few horrendous experiences.
Really?
Yeah, there was, and one of them was with a couple, and I think I do mention in the book, and so they wanted to meet at a bar, which is great, meet in public. So there's nothing crazy going on. They were a little snippy toward each other, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like their foreplay or something. I don't know. So we ended up they had a hotel room, so we went back to the hotel room. And they were still snippy. And my gut was saying, just go, just leave.
Right.
But I didn't.
But we never follow our gut.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so we were in bed, and she was performing oral on him, and I was performing oral on her. And all of a sudden, I started to hear somebody snore, and the guy fell asleep.
No way.
I was like, holy shit, I'm in the middle of a cage match about to go down. So I just got up, and I went, I'm out of here, because she caught him sleeping while she
How
was
does he
giving.
fall asleep? Wait. She was giving him a blowjob and he fell asleep.
Exactly.
So
There was a stranger in between his wife's
was he
legs.
drunk? I mean,
Too,
no,
was
but
that part.
that is just bizarre. Was he drinking?
He had a couple beers, but it wasn't like he was pounding them back.
Apparently,
or
she wasn't that
anything.
good. Did you hail out of there right
Yeah,
after
I got
that?
out of there, yeah. I was
Like
like-
right before you're like, don't even touch my penis because I'm not sleepy yet.
Narcolepsy.
Okay.
Fuckolepsy.
When we come back, I want to hear more of the crazy stories and I want some more tips. But first, I'm a quick word from our sponsors here.
This Thursday on USA Network.
I love my wife.
Is love enough to keep a relationship going?
What does love really mean?
Can I have sex with one person for the rest of my life?
This summer's most provocative new series.
What if having it all isn't enough?
I just want to feel alive again.
I want to feel
I want to
appreciated.
experience more.
What else is out there?
Why can't I tell him what
Is
I
there
want?
something more?
What does love really
Am I the
mean?
only one who feels like this?
Am I satisfied?
Satisfaction, a postmodern love story. Premieres this Thursday at 10, 9 Central on USA Network.
I want to thank you all again for supporting my sponsors. I appreciate it. And I need to tell you all about Spicy Subscriptions. Because I talk a lot about sex toys on the show. And you all email me, which one should I get? I don't know what to do. It can be overwhelming to choose. Or if you're like me, you want to try everything. So thank God there's a new home delivery service that wraps the sex shop in great discreet packaging and sends it straight to your door. Spicy Subscriptions is a monthly delivery box with a fun theme every month. It could be like a bondage theme one month. It could be a, I don't know. They could say send you sexy lingerie. It could be like a toy month. It could be anal month. Well, you can choose what, there's different themes. And the boxes come, they help you improve your sex life. They come with the latest sex accessories like vibrators, lube, massage oils, and you get to try a new one each month. It's a perfect way to add an extra spark to your bedroom, your relationship, your life. In fact, 80% of subscribers have noticed an improvement in their sex life. So now, every month, you and your partner, imagine this, you look forward to the box. You're like, oh my God, the box is here today, honey. This is like foreplay before the thing. You're like, guess what's arriving? And you actually get excited about that this new box is coming. And also, if you're single, they'll also spice up your solo time because there's nothing that's in there that you can't use alone. And also, our sex lives, as you know, are changing in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, and you just have to adapt to what works for you over the the years. And I find, and what I hear from all of you, couples who've been together, you're like, we don't know what to do. It's changed. We're trying to spice it up. Just order this subscription, and every month, there you go. You don't have to do anything except for play with what's in the box. So check it out. And if you're looking for a new way to spice it up, or you're already fabulous sex life and you want variety, it's Spicy Subscriptions is worth it. So get it at spicysubscriptions.com. Use coupon code Emily and you receive a free deluxe toy and 5% off your order. Or if you get a 4 or 8 month subscription, you'll get a free deluxe toy and your first spice box for free. So go to spicysubscriptions.com. And the next thing I need to tell you about, which was a huge star of my event last night at Hustler, is the Fleshlight. It is the #1 sex toy for men for a reason. Because you can feel the pleasure of having sex anytime, even when you don't have a partner. Have you tried a Fleshlight, Daniel?
I have not. I was going to ask you, is it really that good?
Oh my God. I mean, my friend told me, he's like, I would leave my wife if it could cook. Yes, it is that good. I mean, I don't have a penis, but this is what I hear. I wish I did. The Fleshlight is the most popular sex toy for men. It simulates sensations of sex. It was engineered to look and feel like the real deal. So many people think it feels better than sex. But I'm not saying you're not going to want to have sex again, because we don't want that. And the Fleshlight Stamina Training Unit helps you practice lasting longer and becoming a better lover. Plus, you'll experience some of the most mind-blowing orgasms of your life. And if you've ever fantasized about having sex with your favorite porn star, they probably have a Fleshlight that is molded into her vagina, like her vagina. So you got to check it out. I mean, they're just masturbation sleeves. They're easy to clean up. It looks like a flashlight, but it's in a little container, and people are freaking out about it. So go to sexwithemily.com/fleshlight and get it. You'll love it. That's sexwithemily.com/fleshlight.
Is the Fleshlight, is it just the sort of latex stuff, or is it also electric? So
No, it doesn't vibrate, but it's like they have their like special patented material that like looks and feels like the real deal, and you masturbate in it. And I mean, every guy that I've given it to try was like, no, they're straight guys, they like freak out over it. They love it. So yeah, I should have brought you that instead of the Down Under Comfort. Okay, so I'm talking to Daniel Stern about his book Swingland. So we were talking about like the crazy stories that happen, like the bad ones. But that's good. You've only had a few experiences like that. So I want to know, the thing is, why do you think that everyone is so fascinated by the swinging culture? Like, there's such a divisiveness. People are like, that can't work. Those people aren't happy. They're crazy. But I know a lot of swingers. I mean, they're not. And people think they just could never handle it. So what do you think that is? Why people are fascinated by it? And
well, I think I think it's country by country, so I can't really speak for other countries. But in America, I mean, we were founded by Puritans. So
right.
For me, I know that there's a big element that's the taboo element to it. Just knowing that you're doing something that society is saying isn't the norm. So I think that for most people, there is that fascination of that. And then, I mean, even the most committed couples, you've thought at some point or another, what would it be like if?
Right, exactly.
And so instead of just continuing what if, you know that there's, on the other side of that door, it's not what if, it's when.
Right.
And it's happening.
Right.
And it's accessible. That's the thing. It is right there. You don't know where it's happening. I have this theory that everybody is separated by a swinger by 1 degree.
Right.
I think
you're right. I think you're right. Absolutely.
So I think there's that taboo, and the people just, I'd never do that, but I'd like to know what it would be like. I think they'd like to do it if they could then take it back
Exactly.
afterward.
Well, this is the thing. So, but what is it about the constitution of these couples? Is a lot of them, would you say that it ranges that a lot of them have been together a while and then they decide to swing, or some they got married and they were swinging on their honeymoon?
In my experience, it's they were together or married for a while, and they're looking to spice things up. Like a lot of people say, we're looking to spice it up. The couples that don't last are the ones that are looking for the lifestyle to save the relationship.
Right, exactly.
And that's, I mean, what it's not only not going to save the relationship, it's going to speed up its demise.
Exactly.
And I've seen that happen a few times. But the couple I was talking about earlier that are in childbirth, I mean, they had met and I think were together a couple months as just boyfriend, girlfriend, and then they discussed it and sought out an experience.
Okay.
But the vast majority, I'd say, probably married like 5, 6, 7 years, and then they decide to try it.
Okay.
So,
and is it usually, so walk me through this. So is it before they go to a party, obviously, to be a successful swinger couple, you need to have great communication. You need to discuss everything beforehand. You need to have rules. Can you kiss? Can you do this? Can you do that? So I'm wondering if couples, like when they go, are they? It's not always like a full swap, or is it more typically a full swap? Like you have to like both members. Like how does it? Or I know there's all different permeations. So tell me about some of the common ones.
Well, I will give a disclaimer that I haven't swung as a couple. I've just done a single, but I have many couples that are friends.
Right.
So the thing, it really depends on the couple. What you said at first about the communication. I mean, when I meet people who've read the book or they buy the book and they email me and they say, my husband and I, we were talking about this. I say, great, talk about it.
Right.
Talk and talk and talk until you're sure.
What are some of the things you think that they specifically need to cover? Because sometimes you can't imagine. You're like, I think it would be fun to see my wife getting banged by another guy, but I might be terrifying and awful, and or a woman, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can say from the woman's point of view, but I would think from the man's point of view, it's, am I not doing something for you?
Right.
Do you need to get something that you're not getting from me? Is that what it is?
Right.
And if that is the case, then don't swing.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be something that is added onto what's already there.
It's variety.
Yes.
Which is what keeps sex interesting. And a lot of the swingers probably report that it does help their relationship afterwards if they had these other experiences. And then And how do you explain that to someone, though? Because people are listening going, well, that would just tear me apart. But it's like having this new experience together is what kind of keeps you together, even though it's sex with other people, which could be a confusing dichotomy, right?
It's just not how society thinks, at least in our culture. I kind of equate it to, how some people will ask, can you teach somebody to be funny?
Right.
And a lot of people say, no, you're either funny or you're not funny.
Right.
I think it's you either understand it or you don't.
Right.
And it's just how you're made up. I don't know if it's your DNA.
I think you're right. I think it's not.
Nurture.
I think it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think it's for a lot of people who. But I do think it's for a lot of people who don't realize or don't think they could ever do it, but they know in their mind that they could do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And those people aren't like coming out of the closet with it yet, because I think, or their partner doesn't want to, or it's hard to find both. Two people in a marriage who have that synergy and can both want to try it.
Yeah, because even though I was a single guy doing this, and single guys, it's very tough. But I feel that I had some advantages over couples because as a single guy, like all I have to do is, okay, am I okay with this couple? Am I okay with this single person? If I'm a couple, I have to go, okay, am I okay with this couple? Am I okay with her with this couple? Is she okay with me with this couple? Is she okay? I mean, it just exponentially explodes, and the decision making process is so much more complicated.
Right.
So couples. It's tough. I mean, it's this catch-22 because we need the couples in the lifestyle for the lifestyle to exist.
Right.
But it's so hard for them, and it's so hard to match another couple with a couple.
Right.
That a lot of times it's a battle of attrition, and then they're finally like, we just want an experience. We'll take a single guy.
Right. Okay.
And that's how a lot of single guys get it.
But okay, so you're straight.
Yes.
So have you ever been with a man?
No.
Okay. So is that hard? Because a lot of guys are like, no way, no, I don't want another penis in the room. So you've had a lot of male, female threesomes, right?
Yeah.
And so, because I think that'd be awesome. But I could see a lot of men are like, no way, I would never want to do it. But it's about pleasing the woman, and it's about, right. So I get that. So these guys, if it's their first time and they're okay with, is there ever any jealousy that they're like, wow, she never moaned like that with me?
You know what? I don't know if I've been lucky or that just doesn't happen, but I haven't had that. A lot of times if I'm able to, let me back up and say, when swingers when you're talking to each other and getting to know each other, they'll say, what turns you on? And this is the honest God truth. What turns me on is helping a woman have an orgasm. There's the biggest turn on for me is to know that I helped or got her to have that. That's like, okay, I did something right. So doing
How do you know? Do they tell you beforehand, like, this is what you need? Or
no, you just sort of play it by ear. And play it by not necessarily ear.
Play it by, no, I get it.
But so taking that, a lot of the husbands love to see their woman
cuckolding. I was going to talk about that for a second because, keep going.
Yeah, well, they just love, what's turning them on is their woman that they love experiencing pleasure. And so if I'm causing that, it's not that I'm putting a wedge in the relationship. As a line I say in the book, I say, I'm good with couples because I know that even though my dick is in her, I'm fucking him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
In a, emotional sense. And so I have to be very conscious of that.
Right.
And, I'm also very careful the couples that I will see because, for instance, the other week there was a couple that I'm friendly with, and the wife was home, she was off work, and she wanted me to come over, and I said, does hubby know? She said, yes, he knows, it's okay. I'm very careful with that.
Of course, yeah, you have to be, and that's good that you are. But I have a question. I think a lot of people can't understand how a husband could bear to watch his wife have sex with another man in front of him. Like, why they even desire that? Like, what is it? Just like a certain type of? Can you explain that?
I mean, again, I'm not. I haven't done this as a couple,
right? But you've seen enough couples. How would you explain it? Because people are just like, I want to preface it by saying I was out with a girlfriend last week who's married, and she was like, God, he always talks about like he would love to have me watch me have sex with someone else, and they're like a very straight kind of vanilla couple. I was like, it's a really common fantasy for guys, And I was trying to explain it, but I was like, what would you say? How would you define the mentality of that? Just that he loves his wife so much and wants her to have pleasure, or it turns him on that someone like.
I think it's a combination of a bunch of stuff. I think there's that. There's also this thing where she's having sex with somebody else, but she's coming home with him.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you might have the time of your life there, but you're still mine. You're still coming home to me. And there's that feeling of that it's a love bond, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I really do think that it's a genetic thing.
I do too. I absolutely agree. Just like cheating. I think people who cheat, they're high risk, adrenaline, all that stuff. So the thing I like about the lifestyle, or anyone who's into like kinkier sex, is that you find out like right away. Like you take a sexual inventory. So what are their turn-ons or turn-offs, their fantasies, what are their limits, all that stuff before you even have sex, right? So this is what happens at the parties when you get there, right? You kind of have, or your book opens with like a conversation with a husband interviewing you about having sex with his wife in 10 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
So is that often the protocol when you walk in? You're not like, you're like sitting there having some wine and then you're like, okay, so what?
Well, nowadays, all that stuff happens before you even meet. I mean, it's the profile on the website.
Okay.
And so,
can you talk about the websites that you use?
Yeah, I use
now.
Yes, right now I just use.
Couples are always asking me.
Yeah, swinglifestyle.com. I also find that the sites are very regional. So here it tends to be Swing Lifestyle and Lifestyle Lounge. I know that in Texas recently it was sdc.com. Okay. So it's all over the place. And all websites are the same, but they're different.
Right.
But on the profiles, you will put, you'll have pictures if you want to put pictures. You'll describe yourself, describe what you're looking for, describe fantasies, anything else. So when I go online, I tend to look at who's online rather than just profiles because online they're more active and the odds are better that they'll actually come through in the end. If they're looking for a single guy, then I'll read about what they like, what they're looking for, and I'm also careful because a lot of times the couple will say straight male, straight female, but then you see later in the profile the guy is curious.
Oh, and you're like I'm not, I'm out. So what are your turnoffs? What's your? I guess that you're not bisexual, but what is there anything else that you're like not into that you read in profiles?
Anything that's too extreme, especially when you're dealing with, if women have these very violent fantasies. If I'm just meeting you for the first time, I mean, that's risky. I won't do that. I do safe sex.
Right.
So, there are some couples that they don't want condoms. And I'm like, good on you.
How do they handle that? You say like they hand out, they literally carry around their STI
Some people
reports?
do, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, this is the date on it stamped, and this is my report. Because how else do you know? You got to use condoms. It seems crazy.
Well, a lot of these house parties, when it's couples that know each other for a long time, and you have that level of trust, then you're okay with it. But yeah, so if it's a couple contacts me, and a big warning sign for me is if they contact me and they say, "Hey, can you come over in 10 minutes?" Like that's the first thing. Well, I mean, I could, but
why so urgent?
What's going on here?
Exactly. Like, why do you need me now? Right. That's a good.
Yeah,
that would be a good red flag.
I'm not into recreational drugs. I'm not against them, but if you see a profile that's saying, "Hey, we want to party and play," that's not my thing. Also.
Okay, got it. Okay, so mostly what you've done is met couples online, then more so than the parties, or you think you've done them all? You've done both?
It's primarily for me. It was the internet, meeting couples there, and then it's word of mouth. Like the first house party I ever went to was because a couple had said, "Oh, Dan should meet such and such."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, who are they?" And they said, "Oh, they do this house party." He said, "Oh, yes, I should meet them. Yes, I should."
Yes, I get it, because then you're in.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
In. So I have a question for you. So in 10 years, how come you never thought about, or maybe getting into a relationship with a woman and then, or meeting it, you never met anyone at these parties with the single women there and then started a relationship where you knew that this person would be okay with swinging because she's already there?
Yeah, there were a few women that I had met, and I knew I was like, okay, they're trying to push things in that direction. But I had started it because I was curious about stuff. And also, I mean, right before I got into, in my opinion, I was terrible at sex.
Really?
I was horrendous.
Okay, that was my next question also. What did you learn in these last...
Or
were you going to finish the story about
no,
the women?
No.
Okay.
With the women, but I sort of warded it off because I was trying to.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be better at sex.
I
want to
know what you learned. So 10 years ago, Lonely Daniel, what have you learned about sex in these 10 years?
It was sort of this.
And why
I
were you
sort of
bad?
slayed that dragon.
Okay.
To me, I had no. Why I thought I was so bad is I had no control over myself.
Okay.
There was no. I didn't have duration. I didn't really know how to in my opinion, please a woman to my satisfaction. It was a crapshoot at best, and I wanted reliability. I wanted to be able to, give her the pleasure, because all women are different,
right?
So you have to be adaptable and stuff like that. And so I needed sexual batting practice, and that's what I sought out.
Okay.
And I just happened to find the lifestyle, and
was it that before you just weren't? As in, you didn't talk about sex with the person you were with? You're like, I think she had an orgasm. I tried. I don't know. Or was it kind of like that? And why did you think you were terrible?
Probably mostly because I just didn't know what I was doing.
Right. Like most people.
Yeah. And,
right. Why my show exists.
Credit to all of my girlfriends that I had. They were very understanding. But there are times when you have sex and it doesn't last that long and you could feel the frustration.
Would you just come before you wanted to most time? And then how did you learn? Did you stamina training, Kegel? What did you do to last longer?
Well,
because that's a huge thing.
Yeah, there was. I had seen some documentary, and I don't know what it was, but Ron Jeremy had talked about how he controls himself, where he distracts himself during the scene, where you look at, if you're having sex, but you look and you say to yourself, lava lamp or couch, and so you're still in the moment, but you're not overstimulated.
Right.
So I would do that and just practice on my own.
Right. The stop-start method, Kegel exercises, all that stuff, and it really worked, and you changed that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So that would probably brought your confidence. So then now you can last longer. And then what did you learn about pleasing women? I'm sure you perform a lot of oral sex now. So
yes.
What are some tips that you can give? I love oral sex tips. What are your top tips? What don't people know?
Well, one thing that I did learn is with guys, I think it was kind of discussed earlier, when you were giving your workshop about, to have pressure, right? I don't think it's the same for women. It's being light and gentle.
Yes.
And so that, and...
when you're performing oral sex, be light and gentle. Don't just go after like you're macking on her. Like we want you to slow down. And I always tell guys go 3 to 5 times slower than you think you should.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, the light, going light, slow, and take your time. I listen, and I'm just, it's not just my mouth here. I'm using my hands and feeling if she starts to move around, I know I'm doing something right.
Exactly. You pay attention.
And I want to listen as well, and I'll keep my eyes open from time to time to see what she's doing. So I'm trying to be reactive.
Right.
And, I can tell if she... Even though I'm saying, don't go hard, sometimes, likes it a little bit here and there.
Right.
So I'll try that and I'll experiment here and there. But
you
I don't.
probably have a bunch of little tricks now. You like
I
something
try.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what else? Anything like specific? Yeah.
I do. I guess, I don't know if this is true. I don't think every woman has that G-spot when you go inside. This isn't oral. This is manual. But I'd like to try that.
The 2 fingers come hither when you're having oral. Yeah. No, that was one of my tips last night, that if you put 2 fingers, like 2/3 in, and the come hither towards her pelvic bone, it's your G-spot.
Yeah.
And you can stimulate it, and she could have like
She can squirt too.
Yeah, she can squirt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And of course that came up last night too during my workshop, that the guys are so fascinated by squirting. But have you ever made a woman squirt who'd never squirted before?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh, you're like, that's my thing.
No,
I'm kidding. It's on my resume. Yeah.
But I think from a guy's point of view too, we're visual.
Right.
That's physical proof you did. She had an orgasm. You did that.
But she doesn't. Can I tell you can squirt and not have an orgasm?
Oh, good
you didn't
to
know that? You can.
Okay.
You can squirt. You can also squirt and have an orgasm, but it doesn't always mean that you have an orgasm.
Can you dehydrate from squirting too much?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
You can dehydrate. I mean, you can dehydrate anytime you're losing fluids from your body. You should drink if you're bleeding or anything. You got to always like hydrate.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool. So, what else? And you think that you're just more confident now?
Yeah.
With everything that you do. So, what would you say is what could people then in like more of a vanilla lifestyle? What do you think they could learn from swinging lifestyle?
The communication. I mean, whether or not you go into the lifestyle and experience any of it, the whole lead up of the talking to and listening, that is a huge element.
Right.
That's why, when I said if couples email me and they say, hey, thank you for the book. We were, we've been thinking about it and talking, and your book, we think your book sort of pushed us over to try it. I said, that's great. I said, as long as you've had that communication and you know why you're doing it. And you
talk about that, right? So exactly. Swingland is his book for everyone who's, you can buy it on Amazon, right?
Yeah,
all that, and
Amazon,
your website.
Barnes & Noble, all the places.
And your website too?
Yeah, there's links on the website.
Okay, got it. Because I think it's great because if you can you really get into to like how it works. So, but explain it to my audience is that like how does it work? Like, what is the difference between like the full swap and the partial swap, and the like? What happens at these like parties, or who decides, and how do you know?
Yeah, if you go to the party, I mean, a lot of it from the get-go is just socializing, getting to know each other. Anything from people talk stock tips,
right,
all the way to anal sex or not anal sex. And when you get into that sexual talk, there are certain terms that people use. Are you soft swap or full swap? Soft
swap is what?
Everything but penetration. Or for a woman, no oral sex, but I mean there's penetration there.
Right.
Full swap is everything. So there's same room versus different room.
I was going to ask you that. So do a lot. What would you say is more popular? They want to be in the same room or a different room?
For the new couples, it's mostly same room, and I think that that's a good thing.
Right.
When the friends that I have now are people that have been swinging for a while, so you're all over the place. Sometimes same room, sometimes different room. Sometimes you're in the jacuzzi, sometimes you're in the backyard.
Right.
Who knows? And then be up front. They discuss condoms, not condoms. Some women are allergic to latex. You got to know that right off the bat. Some couples they're okay with the sex, but they don't want kissing. You got to talk about anything.
That'd be hard for me. That'd be a deal breaker. I like kissing.
I love it too, but some
I get it.
Whatever
it's
happens
like
between
intimate.
the couples. Yeah.
No, I get it. They make these decisions.
Yeah.
So you say that the lifestyle has pros and cons, and so I'm wondering what some of the cons might be. Let's start with those.
There's a stigma attached to it. What we were talking about earlier, when would you recommend I tell a girl that I'm dating about this past? There's this whole, all this baggage that comes with it, and
right, there is. People just don't get it. It's like so foreign, right?
Yeah, because to me, it's not a big deal.
Right. Just sex.
Yeah, that's it. I think that there's, in addition to the stigma, there's a stereotype, like you're saying, the ponytail.
He does not have a ponytail.
I do.
Okay.
Beard.
I do have a beard.
That's true.
Yeah.
He does have a beard.
I got to ask a question before the show's done.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, no, go ahead. Well, we're not done, but yeah.
What's the most fucked up thing you've ever seen at a sex party? Single most fucked up thing.
Well, I have never really been into the BDSM world. And there is one of the groups that I'm around with some regularity. There's a woman who used to be a professional dominatrix. And at one of these parties, she was there's a husband of a different couple who likes to be dominated. And so she was doing all of her stuff just in the middle of the group playroom. But it was so weird because she's spanking him and crushing his balls.
Yeah,
and
like a full-on dominatrix, and you're just like,
yeah, and all this very
in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, but the look on her face is just like it's another day in the life. It was so funny.
Did she look bored?
Yeah, she looked very bored.
When is this going to be over? But
Exactly.
That's what he was into, right? So
yeah, but so interesting. She sought me out later in that party.
You cup your balls immediately. You're like,
you're like, hey, what's up? I'm going to the bathroom over here.
I said, oh, you look a little tired. Do you want a massage? She was on cloud 9. I just gave her a massage.
Is a great
that was
gateway to anything.
She was just
intimacy.
she was like, everybody get away. and I just got some
this
oil
dominatrix
massage.
you did. You were like, I'm going to take her down. So I have a question for you though about people think like it's not going to last. Swinger couples. Like, do you find that do you know a lot of happily married, just like happily married swinging couples?
Lots.
And do you think they're even happier in some ways?
Yes, I do. And it's not because they're having a lot more sex. That's part of it. I really do think it goes back to that bedrock of communication. They're open. They've talked,
everything.
If you got a couple and there are these certain things that they don't talk about or aren't comfortable talking about, that can blow up.
Right, exactly. And so this is kind of also, if you learn to talk about sex, you could talk about anything. And I think that is the biggest problem the number of reasons why marriages fall apart, relationships fall apart, is because people don't know how to talk to each other, especially about sex. Sex becomes a problem and years go by. It's amazing to me. Because someone's like, emails me all the time. We married 20 years and my wife had just told me she never had an orgasm. I'm like, you've never what do we do now? I'm like, 20 years? Like, I don't even know. Or she doesn't want whatever it is, or he's into certain things that she's not, and they've never talked about it, and they're emailing me. And I'm like, well, talk to her. Like, what are her fantasies? I don't know. I've never asked. It's like they don't. So I think it's great that swingers can, like, it's all on the table. Like, you find out, like, what your I almost feel like we should do that no matter what kind of relationship you're in. Find out, are you sexually compatible before anything else? Like, who cares if you like the same movies and the same music, but I think sexual compatibility and the frequency that you like to have sex, everything is very important.
Yeah, and might just be me, but there's this feeling that there's this sort of superhero element to it. Not, that I have superpowers or something, but the fact that I have this double life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something, I have a secret that all these people know nothing about. In fact, all but 2 of my friends had no idea about this.
Really?
Until I told people, I said, oh, by the way, I just sold a book. There were only 2 people.
Out of all your close friends, were they shocked? And then they wanted to come with you? No, what?
Some of them, yeah, but that's not.
Did you feel like their feelings about you changed?
There was one that I know changed, but I didn't really approve of anything she's done with her life anyway. So
right,
it doesn't
exactly.
Really matter.
A lot of people are just judgmental about it because either it's because maybe they want that, they can't have it, or they just, it scares them. I think it's very scary to people unless you're in it. But I love your book, and it's called Swingland. Everyone should check it out. And what's your favorite part of the book? I was going to have you read something, but we're running out of time. But what would you say is do you have like a part that you love that you think is the most
Actually, I told one of the stories at the Moth story slam.
Oh, I love the Moth,
night,
yeah.
And it's the chapter in there called Same Book, Dusty Cover, where it was the very first house party I went to where I showed up and I realized I was the youngest by 3 decades.
Oh, my God. Right.
And it was sort of hard to extract myself because
there were swingers like in their 70s?
Yeah.
Swinging. Yeah. Good for them.
That's the most fucked up thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, but I tell you what.
Did you like back out or did you play?
With a couple of the women I played, but they were on the younger
side.
Like
what's younger?
50s.
Okay.
Or, I think one was early 60.
There you go. Daniel gives it up. Okay, that's awesome. Everyone check it out. It's and your website is, tell me again.
The Other Daniel Stern.
TheOtherDanielStern.com and at Dan Stern on Twitter.
At Other Dan Stern.
At Other Dan Stern. Sorry, I messed up. It's all going to be on the website. Okay, everyone, follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Sex with Emily. And thanks, everyone, for listening. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com. That was an awesome show with Dan. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I know a lot of you live in LA or you come here often, and the Hustler Hollywood store should be your main destination for the best toys, erotica, sexiest lingerie, and most of all, the easiest way to find the answers you've been looking for to spice up your sex life. Hustler Hollywood, perfect date night spot. If you're in a relationship, browser section, sexy books. See what both gets you turned on. And I'm going to be teaching more workshops there like I just told you about. It was so much fun. So just make a trip to LA when I'm teaching the next one. And if you're single and you want to have more fun during solo play, you have to see their amazing displays. So Hustler Hollywood, they love my Sex with Emily listeners and want to make your sex life better, whether you're single or in a relationship. So they're offering you a 20% discount. Just tell them when you're checking out, Sex with Emily sent you. So go to Hustler Hollywood. You'll like it. And happy shopping.
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels.
Hey, this is Jordan Harbinger, host of the Art of Charm podcast, the #1 dating and relationship advice podcast in iTunes.
I'm Emily Morse, host of the Sex with Emily podcast, the #1 sex and relationship podcast on iTunes and at sexwithemily.com. And this is Just the Tip.
So the elusive female orgasm, a lot of guys are like, I don't know when it's happening. I don't know how to encourage it to happen. They just like pound harder or whatever. They don't really, know how to finesse the situation.
I don't get it. You're right. Women, their vagina is like the Rubik's Cube of life. I understand that. So the female orgasm is fickle, but there are some things guys can do to kind of help it along, make sure that it happens. You can't always guarantee it's going to happen, but take her off the clock. You know how guys, a lot of them are worried about lasting longer? Women are so self-conscious that they're taking, a lot longer to have an orgasm that they're worrying about it too much because they're thinking that you're not so into it.
Orgasm killer in itself, right?
Yeah, it is. So guys just be like, babe, I don't care how long it takes. I'm here for you. If you're performing oral sex or you're having, intercourse or whatever it is, make sure that you let her know that you are there for the long haul. A lot of women, it takes, 20, 30 minutes. You're not going anywhere.
Who would not want to, who's like, this sex thing is so tedious. Let's hurry it up.
I have some phone numbers for you. I have a lot of guys like that. Yeah, there's a lot of guys who are just like, come on, dude, really? Are you taking that long? I'm done.
That's terrible.
Yeah, those are terrible guys.
You know
those
what?
are the guys you don't want to go out with.
You should make sure that she comes first, I think.
She comes first.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's the best way to solve this entire issue.
Yeah.
Make sure that she has an orgasm. Use a sex toy.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. How does she masturbate? Tell her you want it. You know what I always tell couples? Start by mutual masturbation. See what she does, and she can see what you do to turn yourself on, and then you could use that information that you gathered and do it together.
Because I totally get being bored after you're done. Like, I totally get that. So the obvious solution to this is, like, don't finish before she does.
Exactly.
Duh.
Right, exactly.
Right?
And women can have multiple orgasms. So just because she's an orgasm first, and then you have sex, she can have an orgasm again while you're having sex. Also, when she's naked, guys should speak up. A lot of women are insecure about their bodies, as are men. So, tell her how beautiful you think she is. Tell her how amazing she feels. Tell her everything. Make her feel good. Women like compliments. It makes them feel more confident in bed, and she'll get there.
I like it. I also like that you said it's the Rubik's Cube of life, because ironically, guys who are really good at Rubik's Cubes are probably really shitty at giving females orgasms.
It's so true. You're right. I'm just saying that, like, every vagina is different and they're difficult and you can't figure it out because you're with one woman and she wanted this and the other woman wants you to, slap her. Some women like it really soft. Some women like it hard.
I know what you did this weekend.
I just came with the first memory in my head.
If you guys want to learn more from The Art of Charm about dating, relationships, and even networking for business, visit us at theartofcharmpodcast.com or check us out on iTunes and follow me on Twitter at The Art of Charm.
And check out the Sex with Emily podcast at sexwithemily.com and on iTunes if you want to have the best sex of your life, that is. Also, follow me on Twitter at sexwithemily.
Buying a car can be such a stressful experience, but TrueCar is changing car buying forever. TrueCar actually helps car buyers get rid of the fear that they might overpay, and that fear is the worst. Last month, over 45,000 cars were sold by the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network, and TrueCar.com users save an average of $3,046 off MSRP. So, when you're ready to buy a car, you just gotta follow these 3 easy steps that if you want to save money. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what other people paid for the car you're looking for. Then, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information, and then you lock in your savings. Third step, totally simple. All you do is you print out your TrueCar savings certificate, and then you take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better, hassle-free car buying experience. Who doesn't want that? Some features not available in all states, and every day, TrueCar.com users receive negotiation-free, guaranteed savings. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Why would you do that? Visit TrueCar.com today. That's TrueCar.com.